Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Hoff. There are about 23 of these large trees that have come crashing down. Yeah, I don't know if you on your break were able to maybe get out and buy some of those staples, bread, milk, maybe get your snowblower tuned up. He said he needs to research this a little bit more in order to draft a proposal for the legislature. It's a place that the media is rarely allowed into. If the authorities come up and want to start that, we'll take that news conference live. I went there to ask her for that interview, and guys, she did offer up an apology for the allegations I wanted to ask her about. A story breaking now out of Grant County. We've shared a report of a hit-and-run crime that left a teenage pedestrian badly injured. And that's exactly how the Rose Parade got started. We had to cover the Derby, and I got to do that for a couple years.
That's a good look. I like that.
You want to borrow it? They admit, though, that it's going to be a tough game, but they're still pretty certain that the Badgers will make it a win. For the first time, a Platteville man is opening up about being the victim of his parole officer. I'm Jennifer Hoff with the follow-up to a News 3 investigation. Eric Joshua Ryder can prove he paid hundreds of dollars in restitution to Buswell back when she was his parole officer in Grant County, but since the money went missing, he's on probation for another couple years. Joshua Ryder was looking forward to freedom.
I had a really good life working on the road.
He built grain silos across the country.
I had gotten into a fight
until a judge ordered Ryder to serve probation 2 years ago.
I hit him 3 times past self-defense.
The 25-year-old owed thousands of dollars in court and supervision fees. On track, though, to pay it off, Ryder's sentence was supposed to expire last month. Except this criminal complaint says Ryder's probation officer deposited his money orders into her bank account.
Shocked me more than anything that this happened.
Now Ryder faces 2 more years of extended probation, in part to pay back the money he says Sherry Buswell stole.
It's unreal. It really is.
Another 20 victims are named in the documents that allege Buswell took more than $4,000 from 2011 to 2012.
She had to be somebody people had to look up to because she seemed like the person that wouldn't steer you wrong or do you wrong.
After Buswell's co-worker first noticed the inconsistencies in her cases, she was put on administrative leave before she retired in January.
I've made mistakes in my life.
As for Joshua Ryder, he says when he's finally free, he won't fall victim again.
I'm taking the extra steps so that way there is a complete paper trail and a folder of stuff, so it can't happen to me again, because if it does, I'm ready for it.
Ryder is also fighting that probation extension, calling it unfair, while Buswell is due in Grant County Court Monday, but there's a possibility that there's a conflict of interest there, and her appearance could be delayed if a new judge has to be assigned to the case. Exhuming a body is a big deal. It's a rare move in many counties, but Columbia County is confident that taking a second look will help find Curtis Wilske's killer.
And in this case, there was just a bit of information that we needed to, reaffirm.
13 years ago, when Curtis Wilske was first buried, cops were admittedly concerned about his cause of death then. Now, time is on their side.
With new technologies and different things changing, this was needed.
They're exhuming Wilske's body to compare a second autopsy with the first one after detectives received new information.
We're looking at, bones and see if there's any breakage of the bones that would help prove the theory of what happened here.
What happened was in April 2001, Wilske was found dead in a ditch off Highway Z, his truck nearby. It was clear he'd been hurt, but the case went cold until last July when investigators announced a person of interest. The ensuing media coverage meant more tips poured in and led to this. The last step, authorities said, that will help them build a strong case against the suspect.
And it's a good feeling that we're able to, close this out and bring closure to the family.
The autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon at UW, and authorities hope to bury Wilske again that same day. Reporting in Columbia County, I'm Jennifer Hoff for WISC TV.
News 3 Investigates Jennifer Hoff explains in our week-long Cold Case Wisconsin.
Michelle, no one has seen or heard from Amos since he vanished. Police admit they think he had been murdered, but have never found his body. They need help, and for the first time, police are presenting Amos's case to a group of special investigators, while his mother does something she hopes is for the last time.
I normally wait till cars come and then I hold him up. Nobody's slowing down very much today, but, you know.
What might feel worse than a frigid fall day?
I usually like to stay till later in the afternoon.
Is hearing the distinguishing sound of a mother's desperation. For 9 Novembers, Margie Milutnovich has marked her son's anniversary with this solemn plea.
Oh, yeah.
For anyone who might pass by. But as each year passes, Margie hasn't had much luck.
I don't even want to be out here anymore, you know, and I don't know, it just doesn't stop. It's ongoing.
For days, searchers scoured the terrain around his Lacey Road home that he'd left unlocked, the stereo on, and his wallet, coat, keys, and most beloved belonging, Dognosis, behind.
We were a bit disadvantaged right from the start because it was reported to us on November 15th. It was believed Amos's last known contact with anyone was about November 8th.
Family and friends shared flyers.
We decided that we needed to get the message out to people on our own.
They helped hang billboards, a unique effort at the time to try and solve the mysterious case.
It's just a ton of information. I mean, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of pages of reports.
A year into the investigation, police revealed Amos was buying and selling marijuana, as many as 90 bricks of it a month.
We don't often come across that size of marijuana in one time in this county.
Police arrested at least 5 criminals who never broke under the threat of federal charges and went to prison rather than admit anything about Amos. 5 years ago, a newspaper reporter told News 3 he had secret grand jury documents from the investigation that identified a man who confessed to stabbing Amos.
It had to do in part with the debt. He allegedly owed Amos $80,000 for marijuana that had been stolen from him.
We wondered and asked Lieutenant Brecklin, why wasn't that witness arrested?
We've made every single effort that we possibly could to follow up on all the leads we had the ability to follow up on, and unfortunately hasn't led to the discovery of Amos.
I'm open to anything. I just want to get the truth.
If Amos ran away to hide from whoever might be after him, Margie wouldn't say, only that she's gone so far as to work with witches, aerial photographers, even psychics.
Well, it's not enough, because nothing's happening.
She just hopes her hard work out here will help break this Wisconsin cold case.
Really, I'm almost hopeful all the time. I mean, there are moments when you feel like it's not going to happen, but they're just brief moments.
If only the grief could be as brief as the cars that buzz by.
I can't be comforted until I find Amos.
But somewhere beneath a mother's desperation is determination. So that one day Margie Milutnovich can put down the posters and pick up her son to bring him home.
Well, it's only been 3 days, or it's only been a week, or, you know, it's only been 3 weeks. You know, you'd say that every time, you know, thinking there's still time to find him. Now it's 9 years.
Tough interview there. Right now, police are working to summarize the case and present it to Wisconsin's Association of Homicide Investigators. The group of law enforcement specializes in death investigation training, but Lieutenant Brecklin wouldn't say just how long it might be before his report to the WAHI will be ready. The marquee behind me, in fact, reads 1 below 0, and temperatures that low can affect your health quite literally, and at-risk people really need to take caution or you may possibly pay the price. Winter is fun when you're 4-year-old Kai, but for Mom and other East Side homeowners, it's all work and no play. Joyce Witt has shoveled snow from her driveway since she moved in with her husband 35 years ago, but Dennis, he sticks
to the snowblower.
He really does try to help out and do what he can around the house.
Dennis is partly paralyzed after a stroke. Despite doctors warning his health is at risk, it's hard to stop the man Joyce calls stubborn.
I sometimes have troubles with trying to make him stop. I have to yell at him a few times.
The couple can sometimes count on their kids or neighbors for help with the snow, and that's what ER doctor Adam Tewitt recommends.
It's definitely worth that as opposed to being prideful and suffering a heart attack or stroke.
As the temps keep dropping, Dr. Tewitt also reminds people to dress in layers. Wear a hat to cover where heat can be lost, and don't drink alcohol before going outside.
Other symptoms in addition to chest heaviness or pain and difficulty breathing include nausea, lightheadedness, feeling like you're going to pass out. And so these are things you have to watch out for.
Since Dennis has trouble speaking, Joyce keeps a close eye on him from her post in the front.
Like today now, the snow is light, it's not that heavy, and so I usually have him do the snow blowing.
In sickness or in health, the Wits will keep working through another Wisconsin winter.
Through thick and thin, yep.
Now we have heard of hypothermia, and doctors caution against that. That, of course, is when your body temperature falls below 95 degrees, and some symptoms include mental confusion and some sleepiness, and sometimes even your lips freeze up and you can hardly talk out here, guys. So before all of that really settles in, I'm going to get back into the warm life truck. Eric and Michelle, if there's one thing I learned today at the Honda Center is the Baylor team is big. In fact, they've got at least one guy more than 7 feet tall. Really a can't-miss team. Surprisingly today, though, what was hard to find were Wisconsin fans. Anybody a Badger fan?
Outside of Disneyland, of course, we found Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
On Wisconsin. Come on.
But what about a Badger?
Are you guys Badger fans? On Wisconsin? Come on, he laughs.
Fans bought about 1,000 tickets to Thursday's game, but they weren't at the corner of Harbor Boulevard.
Are you guys Wisconsin Badger fans? No.
My job is to report on the crowd, and I was getting nervous until the DoubleTree beckoned. The team hotel was teeming with players, and at least 2 ladies with a pulse on the playbook.
Rain, snow, ice, and it's my life.
Barbara Pulse is married to the Badgers' longtime scorekeeper, and Peggy Lucas is Wisconsin sports insider Mike Lucas's wife.
They really do. They can't play a half game. They have to play a full game. Their big guy against Frank, I think, is going to be a key matchup.
The Baylor team has players nearing 7 feet tall. One is even taller, and the women won't let the Badgers back down.
We're going to take them.
And we know we have to move people into the lane. We've got 3 different people that can do it, so there's no doubt in my mind that we're not going to win.
Okay, so nothing against Badger fans. We all know how supportive and great they are, but the number of them that are here in Anaheim should really start to pick up tonight. That's when they are going to hold the first pep rally here in town.